everybody. Welcome back. It's the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And once again, congrats to the fam down there in South Florida celebrating their second straight Stanley Cup victory down there. And I've heard they've already damaged the classic old cup, but they wouldn't be the first team to do that. I see Steve's been in since 9:41. Steve, you are a trooper, my man. You are a trooper. Yeah. Cliff's in, Burner's in. And I got something special for Burner. We'll pull that up in just a second. Tom's in. Hello, everybody that watches us live. Hello, everybody that watches us on your own time or listens on your own time. Thank you for doing so. And very, very proud to be part of the Variety Sports Network. And, of course, we are originating from the Frank Walker Law Studio.
I see Frank Walker over your shoulder.
You know what? It's weird. It's the timing has just worked out perfectly with that lately. I wish I could say I did that on purpose because I'm not nearly organized enough to be able to do that. By the way, Chase Claypool is in the house tonight. Chase Claypool. I was at his 4 TD game, and if you would have told me that he was just going to go in the frickin' tank the way I would have said you're nuts. This sky's the limit. It's going to be unbelievable. And then the bottom fell out. But what can you do? I don't know where Ben is. He was active today. We talked to him quite a while, but I don't know. Maybe the dog had the runs or something. He is Mapletron. That's right, Burner. Okay, so we've talked about. And look, we're going to get to a lot of stuff tonight, specifically around the all quarter century team. We're going to look at the best players on the Pittsburgh Steelers through the first 25 years of this century. And
we're just doing offense tonight.
Just offense tonight. We're going to struggle to get through the offense. I think some of these picks are going to be like super easy, but then there's going to be some where there's a lot of different players up for debate, which will be fun. Hopefully you guys in the chat will get involved in that as well. I know you will. But for a long time, one of our mottos, what would you guys call that? I don't Motifs. Yeah. Yes. Has been, we've had some drinks because usually the show starts out like any other normal program, but within about 20 or 30 minutes, it slowly starts to turn into a shit show. And that's when we come up with the line, we've had some drinks. So Burner asked me about this. And so look, you go to our store, at dc4lcustomtees.com. And Dan is the guy that runs it. And by the way, guys, Dan is fantastic. Literally, you tell him what you're looking for. He will come up with it. He's got really good prices. You can get different colors, different sizes. You can even get in sweatshirts and crew necks and hoodies, all that different stuff. My God, he's doing beach towels now. But the real piece de resistance is the fact that on the shirt, and I gotta flip it around here so you can see it, is that on the back side, it says, we've had some drinks. And so that is for Burner. We'd love you guys to purchase one. And it helps Dan out. He's been doing his little operation for a long time. Steelers fans are amongst his biggest buyers. I think he gets a lot of Steelers, a lot of Raiders, and a few others. But yeah, so if you get a chance, buy it. We'd love it. And at some point I will be giving a few of these away too, but probably not tonight. And yeah, Zach, we have no idea where Ben is. And yeah, it is kind of what winning the lottery is like, because as you'll notice, I'm not being constantly interrupted right now, which is Ben's calling card. But anyway, so there's the shirt. Check it out. dc4lcustomtees.com. All right, let me get these ugly mugs back up here.
By the way, since Smitty's here in the chat, happy belated birthday. He was with us last week, and I think his birthday was either Thursday or Friday, I saw on Twitter, and he was like in the chat interacting with us, completely skipped my mind. So happy belated birthday, Smitty.
Yes, very much so. Happy birthday, Zach. Wasn't he lamenting the fact that he was turning 30?
Something like that.
Yeah. enjoy it, Zach. Let me tell you, man, it goes fast, buddy. It goes fast.
Says the guy who just celebrated his 80th birthday.
Damn. I'm only 73.
Okay. For the 7th time or
something like that. Yeah.
We've had some drinks.
Yeah, there we go.
Apparently I had to catch up.
Just a couple of Steelers notes to catch up before we get into our all quarter century team tonight. I think in a move that I don't know many people that would disagree, Deshaun Elliott gets a new contract to stick around, and I mean, I shared my thoughts yesterday about it. I mean, Ian, what do you think of that deal?
It was a good move. He played really well last year. Arguably, I don't want to steal too much of Ryan's thunder, but arguably was our best safety on the roster last year. And he made plays all over the field. He had interceptions. He made plays against the run. He was very solid and consistent. And he's in his late 20s, and it's a 2-year contract. So that, kind of carries him over, I think, past his age 30 season, but secures the spot next to Minka in the secondary. And I think Minka's got 2 years left on his contract as well. So that pretty much locks up those two together for the next couple years. And really a 2-year deal is more or less like a 1-year deal with a team option for the second year.
Right.
But nevertheless, it was a good move for both parties. It wasn't an insane amount of money. It was very reasonable, I thought, from a cap standpoint, from a dollar standpoint. So I'm glad we're keeping him around because he not only seemed like a good player on the field, but seemed like a pretty good locker room presence too, showed some pretty good leadership there. So I think those voices are good to have in the room.
Definitely. Scarps, anything to add on that?
I'd probably say no. I think it's I don't know. I felt like there was like some negativity about this deal, and I mean, there was definitely a little bit. I mean, Steelers Twitter is a different, I mean, it's not quite Steelers Facebook fan pages, but which I didn't even know existed until recently. I really didn't know that until recently, and then I went down that rabbit hole, and I wished I never did. But yeah, I like Deshaun Elliott. I think he is all in. I think he is a Steeler. I mean, obviously, he was a former Raven. He's bounced around a little bit, but like he knows how to play football. He understands. I at least think he sort of embodies that Steeler way. But what I also like about him, and I would have hated this if I still worked there, but he's got a little bit of personality. He talked about Aaron Rodgers' old ass being in the nursing home or whatever, and then he liked the picture of Mike Tomlin as Osama bin Laden or some shit. So like, yeah, I would have hated that when I worked there, but from afar, I just think it's funny. Like,
I agree with you. He's great.
I really don't, and then, they got Juan Thornhill who is, I'm sure, eager to prove some doubters wrong. They call him, was it like they always bring up the play where he's jogging. I mean, I'd probably do the same if I played for Cleveland, unless you're Shedeur Sanders, who just flies.
There it is.
Twice. Did you see that? He got pulled over twice for speeding?
Yeah.
Wasn't just once, twice. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you just want to get out of Cleveland as fast as possible. But, I mean, this guy's got jokes. But I think they have a decent safety group.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Obviously, you all know I'm not as high on Minka as others, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing, and I'll just leave it at that. I will. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
One slight correction. I said 2-year deal. It's a 2-year extension, so he had 1 year left, so it's functionally a 3-year deal.
Yeah. The other thing, secondary related, which should absolutely shock no one, is Mike DeFabo. Am I saying that right? DeFabo or DeFabo? At the Athletic.
Tomato.
Okay.
I actually don't know. And
I don't either. And I don't want to.
I've had several beers with Mike over the years, and I've never asked how to pronounce his last name. So I say DeFabo. But I
wonderful.
I don't know.
Well, right. He does a good job at the Athletic, and he kind of took over there after. See, Zach knows.
Yeah,
Fabo.
At least I got it right. You know?
Yeah, there we go. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Zach. But he was just talking a little bit about oh Jesus, Ben's here.
We were so close.
What? Where in the hell are you?
Arizona.
Oh,
had some issues logging in.
Oh, okay. Everything good?
Yeah, everything's fine. I was just I'm on my work computer and I couldn't turn off the VPN, and it wouldn't let me log into StreamYard. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm here.
Awesome. Well, we haven't even started the all quarter century team. We commented a little bit on the Deshaun Elliott contract, and we also I was just going to mention the fact that Mike DeFabo at The Athletic talking a little bit more about the secondary miscommunication from last year, and quite frankly, I'm so sick and tired of hearing that. But it is what it is, and they think Gerald Alexander apparently is the guy that's gonna get it cleaned up.
He's gonna fix it all.
Yep, and
and Minka made comments that basically people have got to communicate or they're gonna get benched. So
yeah,
hopefully that happens. I don't know.
Yeah. Zach has left the building already. Apparently, once Ben showed up, he decided to leave. So
okay, bye. The good Reverend Jim Jones would like you all to have a beverage tonight.
Drink up, Jim Jones.
I like that.
Yeah, a little Kool-Aid there. A little Kool-Aid. I don't think there was really too much else going on Steelers wise to mention. So I think we can probably just jump into the fun here. I get it. Like I said, look, some of these are going to be absolute no-brainers and we can move on quickly, while others are probably going to have a little bit of debate, I would say. Ben is in the witness protection program.
Tom bringing the heat in the chat. I love it.
All right, Ian, let me pull this up for you. Dun, 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 dun.
There we go.
All right, now I think it's all on you.
All on me. Okay, so we kind of had this idea actually back in January. The NHL started doing this for their teams, and we've been kind of talking about it. We're like, we're going to wait until the boring time of year in the off season to do this, and then just like earlier this week, ESPN did an NFL all quarter century team, and we were like, well, I guess it's good we're doing ours now. So the idea for the Steelers quarter century team is any players or the best players who played for the Steelers during this century, during the 2000s, and we're going to be picking both a first and second team between offense and defense. So tonight we'll cover the offense, and in true Steelers fashion, the defense will be a 3-4 setup. But for offense, we're doing a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, offensive line positions, and a tight end. Plus, we'll do a kicker and a kick returner this week on the specialists, and then next week we'll tackle the rest of the specialists. But for this week, offensive players, and we'll pick both a first team and second team players. So with that, I will turn it back to Mark, who is hosting the show, for the very lengthy discussion on quarterbacks.
First of all, kudos on the graphics, Ian. Outstanding stuff. Okay. So like I said, some of these are going to be no-brainers, others are not. Your quarterbacks. So Mr. Roethlisberger entered the National Football League in 2004. So we've had him pretty much for the bulk of this 25-year period. Tommy Maddox, Cordell Stewart, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph. Ben, you made the comment in our chat that you thought Cordell kind of far and away would be the second best guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Cordell would have been far more productive than he was, and he was productive, but I think he would have been even more productive had they just revolved the offense around him, like similar to what Baltimore has done with Lamar Jackson, rather than trying to make him a drop back passer, which he was not. Let him be the guy who scares the shit out of the defense.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time he was out there. I saw a tweet today, and I guess I should have posted it back to you guys, where he took off. First option wasn't there. Second option wasn't there. So he's like, screw it, I'll just run. It was first and 10 from the 20. Takes off, and it's a foot race, and nobody can catch him. And the dude's a quarterback.
Yeah, he really was kind of ahead of his time, wasn't he?
A ridiculous athlete, and he had the big arm. He just wasn't very accurate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So just can I have two quick things to say here real quick?
Yes.
So the slides are organized by the Pro Football References like career approximate value ranks. So for each position, I tried to take like the top players by the approximate value rank, and then some other guys too.
Right.
Obviously, we have the little Lombardi trophies for the guys who won Super Bowls. And the stats on the page are just stats this quarter century. So, like Cordell had over 13,000 passing yards for the Steelers.
Good point.
But a lot of those came before this quarter century. So that's why he only appears as having like 6,000 passing yards. So just those clarifications for those following along at home. But
honestly, I was surprised that Tommy was that productive. And
I was too.
I thought Tommy got a bad rap. Toward the end there when the fans kind of turned on him, allegedly threw garbage on his lawn and whatnot. But I thought he won some games for them that were not easy wins, including that playoff game versus the Browns where they came from behind to win the game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That
was a big one.
That was the birth of the double renegade, wasn't it?
That was the birth of the double renegade.
Yeah.
I think that was just the birth of renegade in general.
But they
no, you're right, Ian. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Scarps, what did you want to add there?
Nothing. I posted a question in the chat because Ben is just stealing everything I want to say. But whatever.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
To answer your question, pretty much.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Obviously, we all pick Big Ben as the first team, but second team, Ben picked Cordell, and that's a great pick. I'm not gonna deny it.
You're not gonna go with Kenny Pickett?
Yeah. No, I honestly I would. Tommy Maddox is my second guy. His numbers weren't even as good as Cordell's, but I look at his story as an important factor in his ranking because he had been out of the league. He was in the XFL, the original XFL. And he wins comeback player of the year. They win that, the Renegade game here, and then Christ, they're a Joe Nedney Academy Award winning performance away from an AFC title game, or at least a chance to get there. Actually, no, they would have won that game. They wouldn't have went to overtime. And also, too, I'm going to say this. If he doesn't get hurt in Baltimore, when do we see Big Ben take over? So, it's kind of like some of the times the best things that don't happen are the things that actually matter. So, Tommy Maddox is my second team guy.
Okay. Ian, where do you fall?
Yeah, so I'm going to I'm fine with either Cordell or Tommy.
Okay.
I'll say that, but I'm going to at least put in a plug for Charlie Batch because Batch did a lot of really good things when absolutely needed in critical times during some of those Super Bowl seasons.
Yeah, no argument.
The year Ben was suspended, Batch came in. I think Dennis Dixon started the first game that year and won, but then he got hurt and Batch came in and had to start a couple games. And we went 3-1 that year with Ben suspended, and then came back and went on a run to that was the year we went to the Super Bowl and lost. But nevertheless, even in 2007, after Ben's motorcycle crash, Batch had to come in and start a couple games. Ben had that appendectomy too. That Batch had to start a game. So there was that legendary game in Baltimore. So I think, yes, he was a backup quarterback for almost all of his time here, and didn't start for a full season like some of these other guys did. But I think I'd at least give some consideration to Batch, but I'm fine with either of the other two as well.
Zach, very sorry about Brian St. Pierre not making the list tonight. I will take that under advisement. So it apparently means we have a vote for Batch, a vote for Tommy Gunn, and a vote for Cordell. Wow. I guess I'll just go with Pickett, and we'll just make it, what's funny is looking at these stats. Kenny Pickett, 4,400 passing yards and 13 touchdowns. And then you look up at Cordell. Yeah. And then you look up at Cordell Stewart, 6,100 passing yards and 31 TDs. And
14 rushing TDs.
Right. And then you look at the rushing TDs, and of course you also can factor in the completely different style of play at that time in the NFL. And it's kind of mind-boggling. But I'm going to go with Cordell here. I think I'll break the tie there, and we'll go with Cordell as our second team QB.
Hey, can we just circle back and have one quick last point about the quarterbacks?
Sure.
You know, nobody brought up one quarterback who I think we probably should give some consideration to. When you consider the fact that, Scarves talked about a storyline, and Ben was mean to him, and he didn't get a fair chance. And according to James and Scarves, he'd be a Hall of Famer if he just would have gotten a fair opportunity. Mason Rudolph.
Well, what's interesting? I mean, if A-Rod has an injury problem early in the year, then maybe a year from now we're talking about Mason in a very different light.
Probably not.
No,
yeah, sure.
I'm trying to paint a pretty picture. Okay, I think we got the QBs. Ian, advance.
Here's a guy who knows how to advance PowerPoint slides. All right, so running backs, we're picking 2. So 2 first team, 2 second team, so 4 total.
Oof. And now, just to also clarify, we are not picking a fullback. We are
correct.
A fullback could be a selection, but we're primarily looking at running backs.
Correct. Yes.
All right, Scarps, I'm going to have you give us your first guy here.
I mean, I have to. I mean, he's at the top of the list, but in my opinion, I think he's a little under-celebrated because it was a short career, but he did a lot in his time. And Willie Parker is my first team RB.
Okay,
you get two first team guys.
Okay,
if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead. Do your other one then.
Yeah, I
Mendenhall. Great. Let's move on.
No,
Ryan's favorite person.
No mention of Najee Davenport here. I mean,
the dump truck.
Wow. Yeah, I really don't want to go chalk here, but like I gotta go with Le'Veon as well.
Yeah,
he was a pain in the ass, but like that dude for 5 seasons was about the best in the game at what he did, and he was versatile. He caught passes as well. So I'm gonna go chalk here, and my top 2 are Willie Parker and Le'Veon Bell.
Very good.
Those are good choices. I would agree.
Ben, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with Jerome Bettis. And it wasn't just what he did on the field. It was what he brought to the locker room and what he did for that team, getting them to that Super Bowl. 2004, 2005 in particular, especially as basically just a short yardage back at that point in his career. And Le'Veon Bell, I mean, undeniably the best talent they've seen in that backfield during the quarter century. And he screwed up his life basically by taking a year off and then going and play for the Jets. But undeniably the best talent that was back there in that position this century.
Ben, are you surprised at all that just in because Jerome obviously retired after the 2005 season. Are you surprised that he had 50 touchdowns in the 5 years that he played?
No, because every time they got close, they would just say, just bring Jerome in and we'll just, we need 3 yards. Yeah, Jerome, come here.
All right. I would not have guessed
the ball.
That much. Okay, Ian, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the tandem that won the Super Bowl together and Willie Parker and Jerome Bettis.
That's good. Those are good. Okay. Really. Those are solid choices.
Super Bowls mean a lot to me. And I think
they should.
When you talk about legendary Steelers, Jerome Bettis is in the Hall of Fame. Like I know his career spanned the quarter century mark, right? The century mark, that a lot of it was before and some of it was after. But even the things he did on those early teams, the 2001, 2002 teams, just like dominating games and closing, we got the ball back with 4 minutes left and a 3-point lead. Like the other team wasn't seeing the ball. Bettis was just going to close the damn thing out. Like I know he didn't have as many yards since 2000 as some of these other guys, but Bettis absolutely for me would be my first choice. And then I'd pick Parker over Bell, just not only because of what he did in the Super Bowl, but his ability to break long runs and be game changing at times with his breakaway speed.
He was scary.
Yeah. And that said, to echo what some people said in the chat, Zach mentioned he never had more fun watching a player than Le'Veon Bell. I felt like Le'Veon Bell was the best player I've ever seen at turning a 3-yard loss into a 3-yard gain. And those are huge deals, right?
Yeah.
Like those 3-yard
swing,
6-yard swing, right? That's a big deal.
Huge.
So I've got to go, carrying the weight of the Super Bowls with them with Parker and Bettis.
Mm-hmm. I guess the one struggle I have is much like yourself, Ian. Super Bowls are a huge factor for me. But then I also think about the fact that we are picking the best players of this quarter century, and so I have to start with Bell. I don't know that we've had a guy in that time period that was as versatile. He also was a hell of a pass blocker too. And so I'll start with him, and then I get into the difficulty of, do I go with Willie or do I go with Bettis? And I'll go with Bettis, and that probably sticks to the Willie underrated a little bit type thing there too. But that's where I would go.
So far, Mike and I are on the same page.
Well, old smart guys like us usually are.
Point for point.
Yeah. Now we have to do a second team, correct?
So so if we're counting who we mentioned as votes, Bettis got 3 votes, Bell got 3 votes, Parker got 2 votes. So I mean, I would say Parker pretty clearly is probably a second teamer based on how we voted so far. So the discussion then just becomes who's our second team running back.
Mm-hmm. I think we can all agree upon that. If we didn't have him in our first group, Willie Parker is definitely in the second group.
No doubt. Yep.
That 75-yard run in Super Bowl 40 alone. I'm like, yep.
Oh, my God. I can still feel the palpitations of watching that whole play.
So
develop.
yeah, Michael Boulware missed that tackle. I was like, he's gone.
Okay. Scarps, what do you think? Who would be that fourth guy then?
I'm gonna make a case for this guy, and he is also one of my least favorite people of all time and players. But I tell you what, man, from 2009 to 2011, this dude was a really good running back, and it's Rashard Mendenhall. He had 30 total touchdowns in 3 years. He had 1,000 scrimmage yards in all 3 years. And the other thing about it too is like that 2010 season, he legit carried us to a Super Bowl. I think 350 touches, almost 1,500 scrimmage yards. Of course, he fumbled. He fumbled in the Super Bowl. But you know who else fumbled? And their story would have been a lot different if Ben Roethlisberger didn't tackle Nick Harper. It's the Bucs.
Jerome.
Yeah.
So
it was a perfect hit, man.
It was
Gary Brackett.
Gary Brackett made a perfect play, dude. I mean, God, Bettis never fumbled.
I'm gonna bang the drum, pound the table for
I appreciate your objectiveness there, because you easily could have said screw this guy, and you didn't.
Yeah, nobody else is voting for him, but I do appreciate that objectivity.
Yeah, Ben, who would be your fourth guy?
Najee.
Okay.
Believe it or not, he, reliability was a big thing with Najee. He was never the guy who was going to live up to his first round billing. I hoped he didn't have a good offensive line in front of him the majority of the time that he played there, but he never was a guy who had great breakaway speed, and he also couldn't get out to the edges quickly enough to run that toss they love to run. So, he never fit, but the guy was constantly out there, and he gave you everything that he had.
Yeah, no argument there.
Every single week. And I almost went James Conner. If he had just played a little bit longer with Pittsburgh, I would have gone with Conner. But I think he's seen his best years as an Arizona Cardinal.
I agree. Ian, what do you have here?
Yeah, so I'm going to go completely off the board, and I think Mewelde Moore, kind of like my Charlie Batch pick, Mewelde Moore gave them a lot of big plays in big situations. He was a good blocking back. He was a good third down back. He came in and started some games during, when some of the other guys were hurt during the Super Bowl run of 2008. But also, I mean, being an old school football guy too, like the contributions of Dan Kreider over this first half of the quarter.
Yeah,
century,
that early 2000s.
The early 2000s.
Yep.
Like what Kreider did blocking for these other guys opened up so much.
Yeah, he would literally go out and level Ray Lewis. It was so much fun to watch. Bang! Ray Lewis is on his back. Look at that. They're probably
look at Aaron displaying his youth. Who the fuck is Zeraway? Oh my God!
Oh, Aaron, you're killing me, bro. So I think Najee's a fine pick. Richard is a fine pick. But if I had to choose one guy and we're not picking a fullback, I'm gonna throw my hat in for Dan Kreider.
Really?
All
right. I wanted to give Isaac Redmond the honorable mention because nobody's talked about him. But the dude in situational football.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's what Mewelde Moore was too, right?
Like, exactly. But Mewelde Moore could also give you some spot starts. Redmond wasn't quite as good in that role, but if it was 3rd and 7, that dude would fight with everything he had to give you 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you needed a touchdown right here, and it was the short area, he would do everything. That Baltimore game, oh my God, that touchdown!
Yeah.
Unbelievable
touchdown.
That dude. No, he doesn't belong in the same sentence with these other guys we're talking about, but he gave everything he had when he got out there, and he was fun to root for. He's not quite as untalented as a Duck Hodges, but he played with the same kind of abandon.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll throw a real monkey wrench into this because the guy that really sticks out to me is D'Angelo. It seemed like every single time
too short. That was the other reason.
Yeah. The career arc here not huge, but it seemed like every time he was called upon, he produced. And, that's all you can really ask. And I agree with some of the comments. I mean, and Ben, you're talking about Redmond and Mewelde and perhaps a different offense. James Conner, if he avoids some of those early injuries. LeGarrette Blount. Shame on you, Ian, for not having him on that list. I'm open to any of the suggestions. I don't know that I'm quite open to Dan Kreider here, but I get where you're going there, Ian. So I guess that gives us a top 4 of Bettis, Bell, Parker, and player to be named.
I'm fine with either. I'm fine with Najee or Mendenhall too.
As am I. Yes, either one of those is acceptable.
I think Najee.
Mendenhall should be eliminated by virtue of that fucking fumble in Super Bowl 45. I'm sorry. Fuck no, I could never vote for that guy for anything. And on top of that, he's a prick. So no, I object.
Due to the subtlety of Ben's comment, no, I agree. He's not wrong. Fuck.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go Najee for our other one then. I think Najee's durability has.
You can't argue with the durability.
I do respect Scarp's objectivity.
I do too.
In this,
I
truly do. I'm not being a smartass for once. I truly do respect it.
Yeah. No, I do too. Very easy to have gone in a different direction there. So go ahead, Ian. Advance us to the next position.
Okay. So next up is wide receivers. So once again, we're picking two starter or 2 first team, 2 second team.
Oh boy.
I think first team's pretty obvious here.
Agree. Agree.
Yeah.
Should we just get AB and Hines out of the way?
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much.
Okay.
Antonio Brown's penchant for pulling guns on people aside. I mean, when he was on the field, you knew what you were getting. Like it was scary. If you're a defense and having to cover that dude, go ahead and double him. He smiles at that. He loved it. He still got open, still caught balls. The guy was nuts.
I love the fact that he's still tweeting, even though he's wanted for attempted murder.
Well, he's in the Middle East right now. I think he's in the UAE.
Is he doing his rap thing?
I don't know what he's doing, but he's over there, and he hasn't come back. And yeah, there's a warrant out for his arrest, as we all know.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see where that goes. But he's not in the States, so he can.
Well, that would make sense then. Yeah.
Do whatever.
Somebody needs to let Freak know that we're not talking about the Steelers of the 70s tonight. We are talking strictly about the Steelers of the first 25 years of this century. I appreciate where you're going, Freak, because that's definitely
what it's worth, Freak. I agree with you. Stallworth was definitely the most talented receiver on that 70s team. And certainly the most accomplished receiver in Steelers history, as far as I'm concerned, because he played in an era when you could literally beat the shit out of receivers as they ran down the field.
Yeah.
And he still was successful. Yeah. You had quarterbacks that have got a career passer rating in the 70s.
Yeah. And
they're in the Hall of Fame. That's how hard it was to play then. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. No worries, Freak. We're all good here, buddy. So I look, I'll just go ahead and say Brown and Ward and leave it at that.
Yeah. And just for clarification, once again, right, these are only the stats here are only those since 2000. So Hines, as we all know, is the Steelers' all-time leader in yards and touchdowns, but those were his stats since 2000. So yes.
Correct.
And AB would have passed him if he hadn't lost his head. But
yeah, I think that's I would agree with that. Okay, Scarps, what do you think about your third and fourth wide receivers here?
This is tough. It's probably the toughest one on the board.
Chase Claypool.
Claypool. And I'm not saying these are in any particular order, but I have to put Mike Wallace on there. He was a one-trick pony, but that dude was really good at it.
That trick was amazing, wasn't it?
He has 30 plus touchdowns. He averaged like 17 yards a catch. Like if that dude beat someone and Ben could get it there, like it was guaranteed.
If there was a one-on-one on the outside with Mike Wallace, Ben was going there.
And I think Mike is definitely on that list. And then this is where it gets a little bit tougher because
it does.
I Plax.
No Jericho Cotry on this list.
These are just the top guys, though. I mean, you can go off board.
Cotry did have a few good years, man. He was really valuable. It was just a very short window.
Yeah,
is the problem.
No, and I'm gonna do it, and I know people are gonna give me shit, but like I'm gonna put Deontay Johnson and Mike Wallace are my second teamers.
Another guy you don't like.
Right.
Well, I don't know him though. Like I just didn't like he had his fault. Like he has his faults. Mm-hmm. He would go forward. He's like Wonka. You got to go forward to go back. But like he's top in franchise history in receptions, yards. Like he didn't score that many touchdowns, but like I really think he was especially with Ben, that like we talk about, if AB didn't lose his mind, if Deontay Johnson got a full, 5 or 6 years with Ben, absolutely. I think that dude would be like considered tops in franchise history.
Probably right.
So, yeah. I tend to agree with that.
I don't want to do, I don't want to do hypotheticals too much, but
I know
I got Deontay and Mike Wallace as my second teamers.
Right. Ian, what do you got for your second teamers?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that Super Bowls carry a lot of weight for me. Well, a Super Bowl MVP carries a huge amount of weight, especially the guy that caught the game-winning touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Santonio Holmes is absolutely on my second team list here.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Really, just because, I mean, if he had played his whole career with Ben and he hadn't had those off-field issues, that the Steelers knew he was getting suspended.
Wake and bake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, Santonio Holmes absolutely is, even though he didn't have the yards or the touchdowns because of, a shorter time span here because he got traded away. I think he absolutely, for me, is a second teamer. And I like the Mike Wallace pick too. He left after his rookie contract, didn't do as much elsewhere.
No.
But I mean, holy crap, that dude, before George Pickens was, him with all that aura, as Ryan likes to say, Mike Wallace was really good at beating guys in the air for the ball. And he didn't have a lot of wiggle to his game, but his straight line speed was something else. And so I'll go with Holmes and Wallace for my two.
Okay. Ben, what do you got?
I have to go Santonio and Antoine Randall.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wow.
That's fair. Santonio, yes, by virtue of the fact that he was ridiculously talented, there were a lot of games when Santonio was in Pittsburgh where he provided what they needed to win. And yes, the Super Bowl MVP to me is huge. And then Antoine Randall, the versatility that he contributed so that, he could return punts. He could play wide receiver. He could run an end around and not set his feet and still throw a touchdown pass in Super Bowl 40. So that's my guy.
Yeah, I was, oh boy. I really wanted to go Wallace here as well. And
I thought you wanted to go Chase Claypool, no?
Well, maybe for a season.
I mean, I would say this. Claypool was good enough that he got us a really high draft pick.
He was that good.
There's some value in that. There really is.
There is. You kind of stole my thunder. I wasn't going to pick Randall L, but I was going to definitely give him special mention. And as Steve pointed out in the chat, he was very fun to watch.
Yeah.
And so on. But I think I'm going to go Wallace and Holmes here.
Nobody mentioned Plax.
I mean, I loved Plax, but at the same time, you knew he was on the way out, and I don't know. That's a dumb reason.
If Plax had stayed and played with Ben, holy shit, how good he would have been.
Yep. I think we'll always. That's one of those always wonder. And Zach says he broke up a Chase Claypool fight at Tequila Cowboy once. I guarantee you, Zach was sitting next to Todd Haley. And he also shot himself in the leg, Cliff. That's also true.
Well, he wouldn't have been in New York to shoot himself in the leg.
That's
Cliff.
true. That's true.
The one other thing I do want to mention here is that, to me, Juju Smith-Schuster had kind of the biggest what if Steelers career of any guy. That there were multiple plays where, he wasn't the fastest guy, but that New England game where Jesse James caught the ball, right? We got the ball after New England scored with not much time left, and Juju had like a 75-yard reception just to get us down to like the 10-yard line to get us in position to win, and then we didn't. There was a game against the Raiders, similar thing, where Juju had a long reception to get us into field goal range, and then Boswell slipped on the shitty ass turf in Oakland, and missed what would have been the game winning field goal. So to me, those were like two what if games where, like, if other people make plays, Juju's remembered as a hero of those games, but other people didn't and we lost, so nobody remembers those.
The Jesse James game was the one where I threatened to punch the guy in the wheelchair.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. I can remember people yelling online, of course, social media at Juju because he didn't score. Because had he scored against the Patriots, we would have never had to worry about Jesse James catching the damn ball. People went at that poor guy for everything. Some of it deserved, but not very much.
Well, the whole dancing on logos thing,
yeah,
I get that. But beyond that, the guy just went out and played his ass off.
I agree.
As a friend of mine once said, and I mean that, and he was absolutely right when he said this. He said, "Yeah, Juju might dance, but he's not a bitch." And I absolutely understood exactly what he meant.
Yep.
And I agree.
Yeah. I think there's other guys that similar things could be said about too. Yeah.
Well, and let's not forget too.
Moving right along,
Juju played through some injuries and stuff.
He did.
Yeah,
he did, and unfortunately,
especially his final year to come back and play for Ben.
I think that he played through some injuries that actually did a lot of damage to his career because his knee has not been the same since his last year in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Yeah, I'm still good with our picks.
He shouldn't have played through.
Yeah, I'm still good with our picks of Wallace and Holmes for second team, but I thought Juju at least deserves some discussion.
No doubt about it. Yeah. No doubt about it.
Here's a tough one.
Okay, I'll start with this one. Give me Heath Miller. And of course, I'll give a special shout out to Vance McDonald strictly for the stiff arm in Tampa Bay. That's it. But Ben, who do you got for your tight end?
The second team guy?
Well, yes, since I guess we're all going with Heath.
I mean, we're all going Heath, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, 2 Super Bowl rings.
Right.
The guy who would always give you 7 yards when it was 3rd and 6. Oh, no matter what, if I got to fight for it, I'm getting you 7.
Wait a minute. Wait, where is Zach Gentry?
Kenny Pickett's wife's bedroom? I don't know.
I said somebody else.
You guys are mean.
It's just nice. It's just nice.
Unlike
knowing
me,
that I'm not the
nice.
asshole.
That's
I'm
right.
Nice.
Scarp, you are not the asshole tonight.
The three of you guys are dicks. Not me though. I'm the nice one.
We've had some drinks.
We have
had some drinks. Please join us.
Yeah, Ben, what do you got? You got a backup here
honestly, it's really fucking hard. I mean,
it is.
Mark Bruner was good at one point, but he played most of his time in Pittsburgh in the 90s.
Yes.
So what do we do here? We go with Freiermuth, who I think is a little underwhelming.
Okay.
This for me was the hard one because none of them are really deserving of it. God.
Well, I mean,
I was the asshole they traded a 5th round pick for, and then they traded him away. They cut him.
Ebron?
No. The guy who went to the Seahawks.
Vanette.
Nick Vanette.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd almost give him some consideration here, but probably not.
I mean, I would take into account blocking.
I'm gonna go with Vance McDonald. Fuck it. Because Pat Freiermuth for me is underwhelming. He comes across as a very nice person, and that that's great. He's an okay player, not great. He's missed a lot of time. Jesse James kind of missed me with that because the dude left. He was a dick. Jeremy Tooman, well, he didn't fuck any quarterbacks wives or anything.
Jesse had some comments when he got to Chicago, didn't he?
No, he went to Detroit and he said it's not about the Kardashians.
Yeah, he said it's nice to not be in a place where it's like the Kardashians.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe he told the truth.
Yeah, I
mean, what the fuck? The truth hurts.
I mean, you keep that shit in house. you don't need to necessarily talk about it publicly. But
did the Kardashians keep anything in house?
Nope.
So there we go. No,
you can't keep Kim's ass in house either way. So.
Yeah, well, apparently she got her butt implants, so there's that.
Right there.
My
point exactly.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Vance McDonald.
All right. All right.
The time that he played was, that was pretty impressive. Jeremy Tooman just wasn't productive enough as a Steeler. He did block well, which is why they kept him around for a long time, and he does have a Super Bowl ring. But I like Muth not being a drama queen, but what?
Let's pick up the pace, boys. We're going to be here all night.
All right. Yeah. So that's my pick. McDonald. Moving on.
Okay. Scarps, what do you got?
You're all wrong. I got a guy who was here 1 year.
Oh, boy.
He had 3 receptions for 9 yards, but 2 of them went for a touchdown. Ladies and gentlemen, Leonard Pope.
Oh, the Pope. I love it. We got a vote for the Pope. Ian, who do you got?
Forerunner of Pope Leo, in fact. I'm gonna go with Freiermuth. He's had some injuries, especially concussion issues, but he's been really solid with some really bad quarterback play. And Heath Miller had that sort of extrasensory ability to find the open spots when the quarterback was in trouble where Ben could find him. And Muth has that too. He's had some bad quarterback play, but he has the ability to get open. And he's kind of the guy who isn't going to put up a ton of stats, but he's always there when you need him and has turned into a pretty good red zone target. So I'm going to go with Freiermuth.
I'm surprised nobody's mentioned Wesley Saunders.
Why not Wes?
I mean, there were
actually Wes just called in to mention himself.
There was a long campaign on the Twitter, on the Bird app, when it still was the Bird app.
You remember
that? To try and get him reinstated as a Steeler.
That was
I got real talk. Muth would have been my 2. I was just being a dick about Pope, but the Wesley Saunders story I will always tell is that 2012, there were reports that Mike Wallace was reporting the training camp, which were false. Okay. And Wesley Saunders went on Twitter and was like, he's back or something like that. And as PR got to talk to the team at the training camp team meeting, so it's like I'm standing up there. After we got done, Mike Tomlin, I'll never forget this. Mike Tomlin walked in front of us. It was like, yeah, you hear this, guys? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, and Mike goes, you hear that, Wes? Don't be dumb your whole life. I will never forget that as long as I live.
Wow.
I will never forget that as long as I live.
In front of the whole team?
Shots fired.
Because I had just been rehired because I was an intern and I left for a month and they rehired me full time. And I was nervous as hell because they all knew me, but I was official. And so if Mike Tomlin's listening to this, I know sometimes I give you shit, but thank you for breaking the ice with that one because it was fucking amazing.
God, dude. Oh my God.
Dude, I felt so bad for the kid though, because you hear
these stories about Tomlin. You hear these stories about Tomlin over and over and over again. You hear these stories about Tomlin over and over and over again, not pulling any punches in front of anybody, giving no fucks.
Right. Well,
and then you come in with this. You hear that? You hear that, Wes? Don't be dumb your whole life.
Wes, don't be dumb your whole life. I will never forget that as long as I live.
Okay, so I think number one, I think it's a big year for Pat Freiermuth. I think he is going to have a lot of opportunities with Rodgers there. So hopefully he lives up to that. I will. Only because of his time, I will go with Freiermuth here. I want to go with McDonald a little bit, but he really wasn't there.
18 touchdowns is really hard to.
It is very hard, very hard, very hard. Go ahead, Ian. Progress.
Yes. All right. So 3 votes for Freiermuth. That's good. All right. Offensive tackle.
No, not 3.
3. Yeah.
Freiermuth.
Boys, we're never gonna make it through today.
We're only doing the offense tonight.
Yeah. All right, so two offensive tackles here.
My bad. We only got
we're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so two guys here we're picking. Two first team, two second team.
Why is Villanueva even on this list?
All right, thank you. I'll start. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Starks and Marvell Smith.
Okay.
Those are my guys. I just think when you look at the overall body of work,
Starks bailed him out a bunch of times.
He did, and and that's nothing against Marcus Gilbert or anybody else. Villanueva,
he just wasn't that talented. He was popular,
right? I never got it with him. A wonderful human being, and
absolutely
played his ass off, but I never got it with him as far as being a truly dominant offensive left tackle. So I'll go with Smith and Starks. Scarps, what do you got?
Yeah, this is the first time where I'm all about the Super Bowls and the winning and the opinion of the quarterback. And when Ben talks about Marvell Smith, I really think that means a lot. So he is my first. And then no, I mean, Zach, I am torn. I am torn on the Al and Max Starks because of the story. And obviously we all know Al's story.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate the fact that in 2011, I think it was, Max Starks was fucking sitting on his couch and they signed him and he started I just think I think Max beats Al in this, and that's no disrespect to Al because that dude started every game for like 5 or 6 straight years, and like he was not. I mean, he's a massive human, and he didn't even play that. He played like eligible at Army, so like it's still a good story, but I got to go by success, and I will go with Marvell and Max.
Wonderful. Ian, what do you got?
So a couple years ago on the show, it was a summer show, we were just BSing, and someone in the chat asked us who we thought the most overrated Steelers of all time were. And I said Villanueva was my choice because not that he was a bad player, but he got his Pro Bowls basically because a certain group of the fan base appreciated some of the things he did off the field.
Right.
It wasn't just the fan base. It was other fans for other teams.
Yes.
Yep. That too. So I Villanueva was a fine player. He was, and his salary was always like,
minimal,
super team friendly.
Exactly. Like he
no
was
Broderick, no
exactly.
Zach, no Broderick.
Villanueva as your left tackle was always like the 20th highest paid left tackle in the league, which is probably about where his talent level was. But he got to 2 Pro Bowls based on fan voting, so he would not be my choice for first team. Marvell Smith and Max Starks are my first choices for.
Okay.
All right, Ben, wrap it up, man.
Since we already know who the first and second team guys are.
No, we know who the first team guys are. We do not know second team yet.
Oh, well, we pretty much do, because I'm going to go Marvell Smith, of course, because it's obvious he was the first team left tackle.
Yes.
Without question.
Yeah.
And Kelvin Beachum, who defied the odds.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that dude was not only serviceable, he was pretty good. He turned a 7th round compensatory pick selection
hell of a career
into a decade plus career.
Yeah.
That dude was good.
Is he still active?
Yes.
He still plays for the Cardinals.
Is he really?
Yeah. Or maybe the Jets now. No, he's still around.
Last year he was still there.
Yeah. Ben, I agree.
I was going to pick Beachum for my second team too.
Considering where he was drafted, Ooh.
Anyway, I mean, Marvell Smith is the obvious first team pick. I'm sorry. It's not even.
Yep. Agree.
Zach Banner? No, Zach.
Yeah. And let's see. Scarps has a child issue right now. One of the children is up. It happens.
Ian knows all about that. In fact, Ian can balance doing the podcast while his children are having a tantrum. I don't know what the big fucking deal is, Scarps.
Yeah, actually, Ian has like juggled 3 kids while doing the podcast.
There was one time before we did video, we were just doing audio at the time, where I remember I was standing in my basement with the laptop, like that was in my old house where I had like a bar in the basement. The laptop was on top of the bar. I had my headset on and I was holding a baby and I just unmute myself to talk. And, so
that is dedication right there. Dedication.
Okay, so
now here's a guy who understands priorities.
Yes. So we've got Smith and Starks as our first team tackles.
Yeah.
Second team, we've all kind of mentioned we like Beachum, but we need another second team tackle.
So wait, Beacham's not a second team tackle?
No, Beachum is.
No, I think he is. I think he is.
No, I would put him there too.
All right.
But we need 2, right? Because there's a
we do.
No, I get it. So, Mark, are you up?
Yeah, I'll go Villanueva here. I think he's worthy of second team. I don't want to be overly harsh on him. Look, Willie Colon, I think there's an argument for.
There's absolutely no argument for Willie Colon. I'm sorry, he sucked ass.
Yeah, but
he was a way better guard.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say.
Way better.
Is that he was better on the inside. Chooks, love that you're a Western grad, brother, but no, thank you.
And he quit. He quit twice. Like, how do you vote? How do you get behind a guy like that?
Well, I will go. I'll go Big Al and Beachum. Ben, what are you going to do for your 2s?
For my 2s, I'm going to go Marcus Gilbert, who was a very, very respectable right tackle.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Wayne Gandy.
Okay.
Who didn't play long.
No.
But while he was there, and he even said when he left, he's like, I would have taken less to stay in Pittsburgh. I would have. But I wasn't taking that much less.
Right.
Like what they were offering was a pittance of what Atlanta was offering. So I'm out. Bye.
It's a business. You gotta watch the bottom line. It's Scarps, we are on our number 2 tackles here. So most of us went with Smith and Starks. Who would your backups be?
No. You guys went with Villanueva and Starks.
No, Smith and Starks are our first team.
Right. I went Smith and Starks first team all the way. Yeah. Scarps?
Beachum.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I would go with. All right, we'll talk about a story. 7th round pick, Kelvin Beachum.
Love it.
His versatility, played multiple positions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd probably go with Marcus Gilbert. I thought he was a pretty solid player, 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
I'd probably go with that.
All right, Ian, what's your backups?
Yeah, Beachum definitely for me, because not only did Beachum play tackle very well, but he played a couple games at center too, like when we absolutely needed him to.
True.
So I think Beachum for me definitely is a second teamer, and then I think it's close for me between Villanueva and Gilbert, just because Gilbert had some injury issues, but was a very, very solid right tackle for a long time.
What's up, Vinny?
That's not to take away from what Villanueva did during his career. I mean, he was a fine left tackle, but he was like good but not great. He was serviceable.
That's a good word.
Yeah. So I'm really torn between Villanueva and Gilbert here for my last choice.
Pick one.
But Beachum is definitely one of my picks.
Okay. All right. So it looks like we've got Ben. Did you give us your 2s?
I did.
Okay. So
I'm sure that Ian recorded them because that's Ian.
Yeah. Ian, do you have the record of that?
I do in a weird way. So
all right. That's fine.
Yeah. So I think we all voted for Beachum in some respect.
Yes.
So we were all in agreement on Beachum. So Ben had Gilbert and Gandy. Scarps had
Gilbert. I think it would be Gilbert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark had Villanueva,
Yeah.
and I was kind of split between the two of them. So I think Gilbert, I guess, gets the edge slightly.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yep. Perfect.
So
All
who are our guys?
So first team tackles are Marvell Smith and Max Starks. Second team tackles are Kelvin Beacham and Marcus Gilbert.
I like it, guys.
I like
work.
I like it. Good work.
Cool.
Yeah, and
superior guys.
No, and I that's no disrespect to Al, but like
Nope.
I think he was also put there because they really didn't have a like.
I agree, Scarps. I think it's a good point.
And
the first two guys are really simple here.
Yeah, so
this is going to be quick.
Okay, we're all in agreement
Faneca?
on the first two. I mean, is anyone going to argue DeCastro?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Then the first two are.
I love Ramon Foster. Great guy. Great
Yes.
story. Undrafted.
Yep.
Good player. Solid player. Started a fuck ton of games.
Yep.
God, I mean, and locker room leadership, love it. But does he beat out Alan Faneca or David DeCastro in this regard?
No. Zach just stole my thunder completely.
Oh man,
I was
you're all
just going to say Kiyomatu just got a flag and Zach
You're all
nails it.
rotten. You're all rotten to the core.
Hey,
that dude.
Watching,
that dude was hard, man.
Kiyomatu jump on the pile at the end of the play was always fun.
Oh God. Yeah. So look, Faneca, DeCastro, and then for me, I will go Foster and Simmons for my backups. Ben, what do you got for your backups?
Oh, so wait, we got 4 guards. Then we only had 2. Oh, we do have
2
4
starters,
guards.
2 backups.
2 starters, 2 reserves.
All right, so I got to go Foster because I mean you have to, and then Kendall Simmons.
Yeah. Ian.
Same.
Yeah, same. Foster and Simmons.
Shit, guards, piece of cake.
It's a quickie.
Yeah. All right, centers.
Probably another easy one here, right?
I think so.
I think you go Pounce as your starter, Hardings as your reserve. I know Ben was a big fan
Sean
of
Mahan. Like why isn't there any mention of him here? I don't get it. Like, I mean, and Doug Legursky was a terrible center. Terrible. Fucking horrible center.
Well, T-Rex.
Jesus Christ almighty.
Yeah, look, Aaron even went all caps on Legursky. Holy shit, man. That's
all
serious
caps,
right there.
No cap.
Well, he had the T-Rex arms, and he just, he wasn't as bad as Kendrick Green, but it was right there. It was really close.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And I will just say, I thought Cody Wallace, he deserves a modicum of respect, I think.
He's my second. He's my second.
Is he, Scarps?
Oh, Cody Wallace is my second team.
Yeah, I mean, he came in and started some good games.
He started.
You guys have got to make this case for me so I can understand it. Why Cody Wallace?
He started every game in 2015 because Pounce got hurt in the preseason. He started every game in 2015. They won a playoff game. I know that. I know some of our younger listeners don't know what that means. And honestly, in 2015, their offensive line play was really good. And that's no disrespect to Marquise Pouncey. I'm just saying that, like, Cody Wallace is a great replacement.
The center from a communication standpoint is really important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like, a free safety, actually both safeties, communicating well to the rest of the backfield is really important on defense. The center communicating well to the rest of the offensive line is super important. So I'm not going to argue that, Scarps.
But in reality, I'm going to pick Hardings. But
absolutely.
I think Cody Wallace deserves a little bit of love.
And that's all I wanted to point out.
Yes.
Yep.
That's fair.
Yep.
I mean, that is fair, really.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to just because I'm sure Cody's probably watching the show right now and just wanted to give him a little bit of love.
I just want to reach out to all the Sean Mahan fans real quickly.
Holy shit, Vinny's turning 20. Hit this.
Jeez.
Vinny's turning 26 on Saturday.
26?
Jeez, Vinny.
You're barely old enough to have a beer, Vinny. How are you commenting on this show?
I'm the youngest on the show, and I just turned 38.
Jesus.
Cody Wallace also was really good at giving you the extra business.
He was an instigator. He was.
I mean, Cody Wallace did do that, but he got away with it.
Yes, he did. A lot more than some other guys.
I can't remember which Miami Dolphin he was fisting in that game. They almost won with the Hail Mary play, but all you could see was his elbow with the rest of his arm.
Oh, you got the whole fist up there, Doc?
Oh yeah.
It's like it was Black Mass, the movie, and Whitey Bulger's talking to his kid, and he goes, "Listen, the reason you got in trouble is not because you hit that kid; it's because you did it when people could see it. You got caught.
You got caught.
What you do is you hit the kid when nobody can see."
Oh, fucking Cody! Oh Christ! Everybody was watching that. It was like when Mendenhall humped Ben after the AFC Championship in 2010.
Damn, freak! Come on, man! I go to Bob Evans, not Denny's. Oh.
Okay, I feel better now.
All right.
Okay. Oh boy, a lot of sentimentality here for Jeff Reed, I'm sure.
Nope.
No. Okay.
I was at the game where Jeff Reed fucked up and then walked off and said, "Well, haters gonna hate."
Yeah.
I was at that fucking game. So fuck you, Jeff. Love you, but no.
Wait a minute.
Dick.
Was that the New England game when
Yes.
Yeah.
He got cut the next day?
Yes. That was my first year there. We got torched by Rob Gronkowski, who nobody knew about.
Yeah.
He had 3 touchdowns. And then he bitched about the sand or something on the field. And then the next day I remember walking to the locker room and I saw a new kicker. And I was like, who the fuck's this guy? It was Sean Squeezem.
It was Squeezem. Right on.
Oh shit. That's
I go
funny.
Squeezem over Jeff Reed. Sorry.
So I think Boswell's a pretty clear choice for our first teamer here, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
So I think the real discussion is second team, and I think I just heard Ben say Squeezem would he be his second teamer. I mean, to me, this goes back to Super Bowls, and Reed made a lot of clutch kicks to win 2 Super Bowls. Yes, his career here ended in a very unceremonious fashion. Yeah. Squeezem came in and did some really, really good things to help turn that season around. 5 field goals in that game against Buffalo? This is not to discount what Sean Squeezem did.
Right.
He was really good until the dumbass turf at the Hall of Fame game ruined his knee and the rest of his career. But I have to go with Jeff Reed just because of the kicks he made to help us get to and win 2 Super Bowls.
Hater.
Ben, what do you got?
Ben had Squeezem, I think.
Fucking degrees here. How is that possible?
As much as I love Sean, I agree with Ian. Boz 1, Reed 2.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Ben,
going. Well,
Chris Brown, 55 of 74.
Yeah.
What a fucking loser.
Fuck Chris Brown because he wanted to leave. I want to go to Houston. Don't match. Boswell is your number 1.
Yeah,
that's obvious, clear and away. I'm gonna go with Squeezem. And
I'm okay. All right.
I'm not gonna really. Jeff Reed was kind of a douchebag, setting aside the whole, issue at beating up, beating up a paper towel dispenser. Poor
meeting in public.
Defenseless. No, that wasn't him.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, yes, it was. That absolutely was him.
No, that was not him. That was him. He got out of the vehicle and defended. Was it Spaeth or was it?
That was a different time. That was when they got arrested for being on the north side. Yeah,
that was McFadden's, right?
It was outside of. It was in Carson, outside of McFadden's, exactly. And he got out of the car.
McFadden's is on the north side.
And started yelling at the cop.
Yes.
About. I thought it was Spaeth. Spaeth was pissing on the side of the street.
It was Spaeth pissing.
Yeah.
And Reed, I'm sorry. Reed was in the car and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck, cop? You realize he's a Pittsburgh Steeler, right? What the fuck? You know who he is? You're giving me a ticket for public urination?" And of course, it made the papers because
of course, poor choice of words there, Jeff Reed.
Yeah.
I'll take Boswell, and despite his legal troubles, I will go with Jeff Reed second here.
Not Chris Brown.
No, I'm gonna.
It's Boswell and Jeff Reed, basically, is what you guys are saying.
I think that's it. For returners, I expect a little bit of debate here.
I mean, I think Randall L is a clear choice for the first one between 5 return touchdowns and, Well,
AB had 5 as well.
Yeah. But I think, we picked AB for our first team receiver. So I think Randall L is first team returner. And Randall L did more on kick returns than AB did too. AB had that one kick return touchdown at the very beginning of his career, like the first game he played. But other than that, he mostly was just a punt returner, whereas Randall L did a little bit of both. And Randall L's, we talked about that Renegade game against Cleveland that Tommy Maddox won. Randall L had a punt return in that game that turned the tide of that one too. So Randall L is my choice for the first team.
I will second that as well. Anyone else?
Randall L is your first team? Yeah, I'll go along with that. Well, Randall L is the first team.
Yeah.
Second team? You gonna have a second team returner?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Stephon Logan.
That year was incredible, man.
It was. 1 year was amazing, and then after
he went on to have a pretty good career in Detroit, didn't he?
It was decent.
Yeah,
I mean, not great, but I got to go AB for second.
Yeah.
AB for as a punt returner, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Is that it for tonight? Are we just doing the...
who are we? Or so is AB our second team?
I think AB is our second.
Right. So who are we insulting as we do?
Who are we insulting? You mean like the people that aren't on his list?
Yeah, I mean, actually, the people in the chat is who I want to insult, but it's fine.
I don't think we're insulting any of those folks tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is, and I mean this. I know you all think we're assholes, and we are, and we had some drinks, but I think this is a very fair assessment.
Yeah,
I do too.
Of these guys, and I mean, you're gonna hate me next week when TJ Watt does not make the first or second team edge. But
I mean, the Steelers have had a lot of good edge players. These are seriously, these are real viable arguments. Like, this is going to be fun. Yeah. On defense, it's going to be fun because we've had some really good players on defense. We have. Not inside linebackers lately, but as a whole, the Steelers have had some really good
I've kind of,
especially at edge.
And I think Ian and I talked about it. I think that's why we wanted to do the defense second, because I think there's going to be a lot more debate with that.
It's going to be a fist fight. I mean, we're how far are we into this? We're an hour 18 in, and we just got done.
Yeah. And by the way, do we have Casey tonight?
Oh yeah, we're.
Oh, way to bring it up, man. So let's do it. Let's do a little Casey Kasem tonight.
Casey's Coast to Coast American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was June 19th, 1985. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is back with us again this week, and he writes, Dear Casey, I'm going up to Latrobe. Hey, Yins, don't you want to go? I'm going up to Latrobe. Hey, Yins, don't you want to go? Casey, that's a parody of Ken Heat's Going Up to the Country, which made it all the way up to number 11 on the Billboard charts in 1968. It also was a top 20 hit in both Canada and the UK in 1969. I'm not sure if you know this, Casey, but the Steelers have had only 3 coaches since 1969. It's also the last time Hotel California had a certain spirit that makes you hornier than a band in New Orleans. Let's get back to Heat for a second. I stumbled upon a tweet today that was what the kids would refer to as fire. And this tweet said, all the national media heat that gets put on Mike Tomlin should actually be targeted at John Harbaugh.
What?
Casey, unless Mike Tomlin is blowing a kiss to the camera after winning a meaningless regular season game in the first month, the words Heat and Tomlin should never be used in the same sentence. Casey, do you remember when I said earlier that tweet was fire? I actually meant to say it should be set on fire because it's one of the most absurd things I read today on the internet. Who knows what tomorrow may bring? Perhaps someone will say all the national media heat that gets put on Mike Tomlin actually doesn't exist. Mike Tomlin getting heat from the national media would be like Ben Roethlisberger inviting Mason Rudolph on his podcast. It simply doesn't exist. Mike Tomlin getting heat from the national media would be like Minkah Fitzpatrick making a splash play that's not in the Pro Bowl's flag football contest. Mike Tomlin getting heat from the national media would be like TJ Watt not disappearing when it matters most. Listen, Casey, Mike is a good coach. He was once a great coach, but he has underperformed. Despite this, his seat is not hot. In fact, Mike Tomlin's seat is colder than an Eskimo's nutsack. Whatever. He will coach here until he decides he doesn't want to. There's no reason to make up stories to turn him into a victim, but I get it. It's easier to turn him into a victim. It's a case of possession obsession. Well, Ryan, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars and keep your radio tuned right where it is. Up 7 spots to number 31 this week. Here's Hall & Oates with Possession Obsession.
Hall & Oates. Outstanding stuff. Thank you to everybody who jumped on tonight and joined us. Next week, we'll be doing the exact same thing. We'll be doing the defense. And then, my God, we'll have to start getting ready for the season. We'll have to look at the roster and all that other good stuff. We'll actually have to put in some time and effort. Actually, Ian's been putting in a lot of time and effort on this.
It'll be fine.
This little thing. Of course it will be. We're old
the thing is, like, we want to look at what's taking place now in June and try to apply it as to what's going to happen in August. Well, and it's always fucking different.
Yep.
It's kind of pointless. Like, I see all these roster projections now. It's like, really?
It's like
that's 100% clickbait. That is total fucking garbage.
Yeah, I mean, that now is the time for the clickbait stuff.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Because there's nothing else to write about.
No question.
So, yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Which is why we did our quarter century team, because this was a way to,
to fill the dead space.
The dead space.
And it was a very positive show,
it
for those.
It was. We didn't even argue that much, which is weird.
Yeah.
For the haters out there that say we're too negative, we talked very positively.
I mean, everybody who didn't vote the way I did, you're wrong, but it's fine.
It's
fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
make sure you check out the website, steelcityblitz.com. Check us out on our socials. Thanks, as always, to DEK Roofing Incorporated and Variety Sports Network, and, of course, Frank Walker Law. And to all of you out there, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. And, hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.